Hey YouTube, so it's Morgan, I'm back. So what video I want to do right now is my July books I read in July, basically. So I read, of course, a mix of fiction and nonfiction, and I just wanted to get on here and share my thoughts. So my to-be-read list was way longer before I read these books in July. I had basically created this whole master list of books that I wanted to read. And of course, by working at a bookstore, things got added, things got shuffled around. So these are the ones that I've completed from cover to cover in the month of July. Alright, I'm going to start with this one. Invisible Man Got the Whole World Watching, A Young Black Man's Education by Michael Denzel Smith. So I remember first hearing about Michael Denzel Smith on, I think it was mostly Harris Perry, and I saw his name pop up across my news feed for some articles from here and there. And he came out with his first memoir, and it's basically when he was in college, and he is using his college experience to explain and answer the question, what does it mean to be a black man? And I think his answer is so good. I mean, I won't give any spoilers really, but he takes black masculinity to task and goes back to what he's been taught and some things that he's been unlearning about himself, and you know what people have told him what it is to be a black man and how he sees himself as a black man. Whenever a black male, especially a young black male, comes into the store asking what's good for me to read, I've always suggested this book, and I've read through it in a few hours. I was at work. That's one of the beautiful things about working at a bookstore. There is time to read, usually. And yeah, I finished this in about 5 hours. I brought it with me to my shift, read it by the time it was time for me to clock out. So, and rang up people in between. So yes, it was a great read. He talks about like his feelings on Obama when he was first elected, around the first time he was elected. Talks about his struggle with like depression and anxiety, loss, homosexuality as in being like a straight male, and how certain things about black masculinity can attribute to homophobia and sexism, and how he had to check his own homophobia and sexism and stuff like that, and which I really appreciate him for, because I think we all need to do that. We need to check ourselves a lot, especially when it comes to those things. The Vegetarian by Han Kang. This is such a beautiful cover. I read this because I felt, and this, you guys are going to think I'm so weird, but when I was training at my job, I felt like this book was staring at me from the shelves. It was probably just because I wanted to buy books that day. But yeah, I had heard about The Vegetarian, didn't know much about it. I heard about it first from A. Marie's, the singer. She has her own like book and beauty channel on YouTube, and it sounded interesting, and it is. The main character, Young Hee, doesn't speak at all. Well, you don't hear her point of view. In this book is told by her sister, her husband, and her brother-in-law, which are really interesting. All of them are interesting. And it's a very good, it's a little disturbing, I won't lie. It's disturbing. But it was a great read. I definitely would read this again. And sometimes I like to think of myself as a professor and like be like, would I put this on a syllabus? How and why? So yeah. I would definitely put this on a syllabus, definitely talking about women and bodies. It does deal with vegetarianism, but not in the ways you would think. It does not teach you how to be a vegetarian at all. So I would suggest something else if you're interested in being a vegetarian, to maybe not pick up that book, but nonetheless, it was a great fiction read. Next, The Beautiful Struggle by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I read this because I read Between the World and Me, and One person said it was good, so I was like, oh, well, somebody else is vouching for it, so I gotta buy it. Anything to buy something, right? So it was a, coming of age story for Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think this is, if you have to choose two Ta-Nehisi Coates books, pick Between the World and Me. This one I wouldn't say is necessary, but it was encouraging because I didn't know that he didn't do well in school. So it shows like you can do well in school, you can fail at things, but still be this awesome, great person and a great writer, which is important to me too. I struggle with keeping up writing, and I really would like to write and publish something someday. So yeah, if you are looking for a little bit of inspiration, which is what I found out of this book, it's not a self-help. He's not preaching about like, oh, be your best self or anything, but the message I took from it is that you can work past certain obstacles, and you don't have to be a straight A student to be intellectual and to be good at something. All right, next book. Shadow Shaper. Oh my gosh, this cover, I mean, that is what drew me to the book. I was like, who is this beautiful brown girl with all these colors in her hair? And yeah, that's why I picked it up. I'm not gonna lie, this is just such a beautiful book cover. And then the girl I was training under explained to me that it was about I think she's Puerto Rican. She's definitely an Afro-Latina. So this is a YA book. I don't usually read YA fiction, but I made what is this you call it? I decided to do it for this one. So Shadow Shaper, yes, by Daniel Jose Older. And I hadn't heard of him before now, but he also pops up in my book, The Fire. This time he writes one of the essays in there. Anywho, it's about a girl named Sierra, and she finds out like that she is in these line of shadow shapers that her mom has kind of been hiding from her. Her grandfather had a stroke, and he couldn't really tell her about it the way he wanted to when he was younger. Her parents prevented him from really telling her about it, and she has to figure out who was killing off these shadow shapers. And I'm just an emotional person, so I had a few tears at the end. It's not a sad book, it's a very happy book, happy ending, but just the underlying story about community and family was just so moving to me. And I think it's a great story for teenagers, especially teenagers of color. It was just really good. I mean, he even talks about gentrification. I didn't hear about gentrification until maybe college. I heard about it maybe once in high school, but like, yeah, just go buy this. All right, the next one. Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth. I'm sorry, not by book, by birth, by Warsham Shire. So, of course, if anybody has watched Lemonade, Beyonce's Lemonade, you know who Warsham Shire is. Of course, most literary people heard about her before Lemonade came out. She helped Beyonce write the poetry or spoken word version of Lemonade that was in the visual album. And I see why. Her poems, these are some good poems. Like, I'm going to have to give this a second read. Yeah, I'm going to have to give this a second read. Just because you could read her poems and get different meanings out of them. Some of them, they are sexual and they are a bit violent, but I appreciated that, what she was trying to say in most of these poems. So yes, I am going to read this again. I wouldn't say I would. I am going to read this again. This is just a quick mention. This Year You Will Write Your Novel. It was on our reduced, that's what it's called, remainder table at work. So it was already like $8, and I got it for much cheaper with my discount. So this is by Walter Mosley, and he writes a lot of fiction. And I thought yeah, why not? Why not read it? And it actually, he does make a convincing argument about how you can write your novel in a year. He doesn't say it will sell. He doesn't say it will publish. But if you want to write in a novel in a year, I think if you follow his directions, you will have your novel. Last but not least, The Girls by Emma Cline. I'm going to be honest, I bought this because of the hype. So I had to check into this, but I was told by another coworker that she got a $2 million advance on this book. They probably made it back. And I was like, oh, well, that's a lot of money. So I don't know if you guys remember, but when Lena Dunham got her book deal, she got like $3.8 million. And I may not be her biggest fan, but I mean, at least the woman had like a TV show and at least maybe a few seasons by then too. And had already made a name for herself. She got a $2 million book deal, and this is her first book. And I was like, who is this girl? So I did semi-research. I didn't do too much digging, but I saw that she had about three stories posted in the Paris Review. And that is a literary journal, and it's an important literary journal if you know about them. And she got an award from them too, and she's only 27, which is really good. But unfortunately, I don't think I'd be reading this again. Not because it was a bad book; it was good. But I think one of the turnoffs is whoever wrote the synopsis. I'm sure it wasn't her. They totally oversold this like Manson-like cult that the main character found herself to be a part of. I would definitely describe this as more of a coming of age story. So the main character, I don't know her name. What's her name? Evie. This takes place in the 1969. Evie is retelling this story as an adult to and she's telling this as an adult. But when she was about 14, she gets caught up with these girls, and she follows them around, and she's pretty much infatuated with this one girl in the group, and that's pretty much why she, keeps coming in and out of this group. The Manson-like stuff does not come to the very end of the novel. If you want to call it Manson-like at all, I'm not convinced. Maybe I need to do more research on the Manson murders, but totally oversold. Still a pretty good book though. It's a good beach read. Alright, so yeah, those are my books that I've read for July. I don't think I'm going to do an August to be read list because I kind of just picked something off the big old stack of books I have waiting for me to be read. I'll do like a wrap up in August. In September for August. So yes, please let me know if you've read any books, your thoughts on them. If you have any July wrap-up book videos that you think I should look at, I'm interested. I want to see what everybody else is reading, and I'm interested in talking about the stuff I've read, obviously. So, yeah, thanks for watching my video. Please let me know what you thought, and I will see you later.